Good afternoon, everyone. I think they are preparing to give SNC a deal. I think they're laying the groundwork to make sure that they've had enough interviews, and the idea of SNC getting a deal is in the public sphere so that when it happens, you're not surprised. I think that's what they're doing. But I want to make sure you understand what happened. SNC broke the law in 2001 to 2011. In 2014, they were charged. In 2018, the Liberals, the current Trudeau Liberals, snuck criminal code changes into Bill C-74, which is a budget bill. They changed a whole bunch of crimes to summary offenses. Instead of being indictable crimes, they changed them to summary offenses. Summary offenses, you can have your lawyer go to the court, or you can just pay a fine instead of actually having to go to court and talking about how big a deal it is. We're talking about money laundering, bribery, fraud, all sorts of big deal crimes. They changed it in a finance bill, in a budget bill. And so it skirted the scrutiny of the Justice Committee. It skirted the scrutiny of the people who are supposed to be checking criminal code changes in Canada. It was Bill Morneau and his finance committee who put these changes in. I've done a bunch of videos about this. So I want you to understand the law was broken a long time ago, before these laws were changed. In 2018, the law was changed. And even so, SNC had their trial kicked down the curb, delayed, so they could make sure they could access this tool. And Jody Wilson-Raybould really ticked them off when she said, no, I'm not going to interfere. The public prosecutor says they don't qualify for this tool that you guys, the Liberals, forced in summer in a budget bill. Yeah, sneaky, right? And when she didn't play ball, when she stood strong to the Prime Minister himself, the Privy Office clerk, the Prime Minister's office, PMO, when she continued to say no to all of these people, they fired her and replaced her with this guy here. And Andrew Scheer is tweeting, and he says, quote, "If you're the Attorney General and you're asked if elections are ever a reason to interfere in a court case, the answer should be no. Watch David Lametti's pathetic answer to the easiest question he will ever get."
But if someone approached you and said an election is at stake, would that be a persuasive argument to you?
Again, it depends on the context. The leading case from the UK...
sorry, just to stop you there, but an election could be a reason for an Attorney General to interfere in a criminal prosecution. That would be appropriate.
I'm not saying it would be appropriate or inappropriate.
Right. So he is absolutely on the fence, doesn't know what to say, because he knows legally what the correct answer is. He's not, well, I mean, to get to the Attorney General of Canada, I guess you have to know somebody, Justin Trudeau, or be somewhat intelligent enough to walk and chew gum anyway. Here's Mr. Scheer for his second tweet. Lametti's answer gives Canadians a glimpse at how Justin Trudeau's government operates. If they can pull some lever of power to help them win an election, they will. Nothing is ever off limits. For Trudeau, politics is above the law. And here's the full West Block interview. The link is in the description if you want to watch all of it. I'm just going to show you some highlights here, and I just found the mental contortions in order to make these things make sense, and the amount of time he struggles. He's not as good as the other Liberals at grabbing hold of the question, restating it, and then saying the question that they want to answer. And so that's the Liberals' playbook, right? Oh, well, I can't speak to that, but what I can speak to is this thing that I want to speak to, and I've got a 3-minute talking point about it. That's what they do, and they do it a lot. Anyway, we're going to watch Mr. Lametti answer a question right off the hop. Here we go.
Minister, the Attorney General in this case had made a decision. This wasn't consultation in advance of the decision. She's saying that she told people she thought the pressure was inappropriate, that she had made her decision, and that she was being pushed to change that decision. Some of the things she alleges were said include that any solution would require some kind of interference under the law, that the PMO didn't want to debate legalities anymore, and that there was an election. Are those reasons that you should have an Attorney General interfering in a criminal prosecution of a corruption trial?
Right. Again, I can't speak to what people said or how people felt, because I wasn't part of that.
But if someone approached you and said an election is at stake, would that be a persuasive argument to you?
Again, it depends on the context. The leading case from the UK...
sorry, just to stop you there, but an election could be a reason for an Attorney General to interfere in a criminal prosecution. That would be appropriate.
I'm not saying it would be appropriate or inappropriate, because I wasn't there and I don't know the context.
But how could winning an election ever be an appropriate reason for an Attorney General to intervene in the justice system?
let me tell you the leading case from the UK, which went to the...
Okay, so for the 30 seconds she was talking, he was trying to get to this case in the UK. The case in the UK has nothing to do with the question of some kind of interference under the law. The PMO didn't want to debate legalities anymore, and there was an election coming. Are those reasons an attorney general should interfere? And he starts talking about tap, 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 tap. He wants to talk about England. And he's talking about legal precedents being set about what the attorney general can talk about and what they can't talk about. But it's not speaking to the question asked, which is very typical of this awful, awful Liberal government. Okay, I'm going to cue up the next clip. Hold on. So his catch-all escape is... I wasn't there, so I can't comment on that. I don't know, because I wasn't there, so I don't know. Even when the question isn't about whether you were there or somebody's inflection or somebody's whatever, it was about the law. Like, can you change your mind after the decision was made? The Attorney General has already made the decision on SNC. She chose to let the the public prosecutor carry forward with the criminal prosecutor's decision. So now you're going to say new facts implore you to change the old attorney general's mind, despite the politicization of this. Crazy. It's crazy. It is trying to get this out there so it doesn't shock you when it happens. That's what this is. Okay, so here he is. The question and the answer.
Considerations for a party in power are supposed to be something that is considered in our justice system. I mean, the cornerstone of democracy in Canada, a big one, is that we have an independent judiciary. And now you have cases where a politician is saying she was asked to intervene for political reasons and for jobs, not because there was an actual judicial reason and that she believed that was inappropriate.
Again, according to the Shawcross Doctrine, in general, political considerations are appropriate for discussion around the cabinet table,
but
and
not after a decision
General
is made.
Well, let me add again. I wasn't at any of these conversations, so I can't evaluate I can't evaluate the context. I can't evaluate the language that was used and the manner in which the conversations happened, and all of that's critical actually to trying to decipher all of this. But what I can say is that.
Okay, so it's too complicated to speak about your question. I can't possibly get into that, but what I can talk about is, but the point is, she was asking about a legal process. After a decision has been rendered by the sitting AG, can you just talk about that? Like as if it's something that is malleable and changes? So we're going to listen to the next 25 seconds because he says no decision is ever final. No decision's ever final. New facts. New facts. I wasn't there, so I couldn't possibly comment, but here's some new facts. The new fact is I'm the Attorney General, and the other new fact is Justin Trudeau told me to get that deal, that solution in place. Sorry, not deal. Let's call it solution, right? Let's use their language. Get that solution in place. And new fact number 3, it's totally legal now, and I'm stepping in because I'm the Attorney General. That's it. That's all that this is. It's prep work to get us to understand that new facts happen. And when they happen, you've got to act and give your buddies at SNC that crony deal that lets them walk away from criminal charges that they've been kicking down the can long enough for you to get this whole thing passed through into the government, into law, the changes to the criminal code, all that stuff. What a pain in the butt that Jody Wilson-Raybould is, eh? Hey, Mr. Lametti? Whew. Anyway, here we go. Another 25 seconds of wiggle, 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 tap dance, tap dance, tap dance, right? He can't get quite ahead of it. He's not as good as the other ones. Not quite.
That even as Attorney General, you do have an ongoing obligation as Attorney General in terms of your relationship to prosecutions and the prosecution service to be open to new facts. And so, again, I can't speak to the actual conversations that happened, but I know that in principle, an Attorney General has to remain open. So in that sense, no decision is ever final. The other thing,
right? I mean, my goodness, you've made a decision. Let's fire you and then bring some new facts in, and boom, here we go. So that leads to the inevitable question of, you're looking at giving SNC a deal, right? And he says, well, maybe. Hold on, we'll see. Okay, this is the interaction. You're looking at giving SNC a deal. And I'm paraphrasing here, but that's the short answer.
Let's go to you, because I understand you weren't in the room for those decisions. So
right.
You are looking at the possibility of giving SNC-Lavalin a deal now, correct?
I have, as I have said on a number of occasions, that is the law. that possibility exists
So why
in the
would
law.
why would you decide?
And that's not to say, again, I'm just going to add a very important caveat here, because everything I say on this matter will be scrutinized, and because there is ongoing litigation, I'm not going to say anything more than what is obviously descriptive, which is I'm up to speed on the file. I appreciate that there is a legal possibility, but I'm not going to say one way or the other that I'm considering it or I'm not considering it.
Were you aware when?
So I just think it's really funny. There is a legal possibility. The decision was rendered, sir. And you won't answer the question, what happens when the decision was rendered by the previous Attorney General? You're just opening this back up just because you can? The public prosecutor, according to the former Attorney General, is fully capable of making the decision, and she's made a decision. So you're going to override the public prosecutor after the public prosecutor's made the decision, the former Attorney General's made the decision, and the Prime Minister fired her for making the wrong one? You're going to fall in line? You're really going to do this? I mean, I hope that you have the full consequences of your decision come down and fall on your head, sir. Really, I really do, because this is ridiculous. And and the last part of this interview is he's a robot. They cut it really, really poorly. I don't know what happened. I'm sure that she went after him, and he said, you're not showing most of that. I'm sure of it. Anyway, so they talk about jobs and if they're facing the type of charges that SNC is facing that precludes them from accessing the DPA. But again, it's very robotic, whatever. You can check it out yourself. The link is in the description. And man, I saw this tweet first, and then I thought, well, we need to watch the rest of this interview together. And he's as slimy and as sneaky as I thought he was going to be. I've got it here. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Terrible. Awful. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful